Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we are saying hello and goodbye to the Emerald. Yes, I know I haven't yet to do a video on the Emerald, but this is pretty much going to be a quick overview of the Emerald in her entirety. These low tiers, I get through them so quickly that I really want to move on to the next tier. That the introduction and the outro are going to be mixed, so do forgive me, but this is going to be a quick overview of the Emerald. Now, the Emerald is a interesting cruiser, a little bit different from previous, like, yeah, she is a little bit different from previous lines like the Dane, which I still have the Dane. Now, the Dane was pretty fun. The torpedoes are decent. The guns are decent. The range is kind of terrible, but I mean, that's what you expect. And you don't have the smoke screen. And the Emerald does. Now, the Emerald is pretty much your training wheels. This teaches you how you should be running your British cruisers for the next 5 tiers. And it's a good little ship. I will not diss it that much. It's a pretty fun ship. But anyway, let's quickly look over the stats. One little side note, I actually did not go for the upgrades. I've been running my Emerald without the upgrades, but we'll take a look at the upgrades, and if you decide that you want to keep the Emerald or you actually want to spend the time to go through all the upgrades, I will show you everything about them. Now, survivability, you have 24,000 points of health when you first get her. Armor, obviously it's 10 to 76, and obviously you have a pretty big citadel. You do not want to be showing that broadside. The citadel is sitting up pretty high. Now, if we compare it to, say, the Omaha, let's quickly jump over to the Omaha. I haven't played the Omaha in a very long time. The Omaha has an even bigger citadel. This one sits far higher up in the out of the water than the Emerald. So the armor is kind of lousy, but I mean, this is what you would expect from the British cruiser line. Now, artillery, it's fairly interesting. It's no longer all central line. You have 7 main guns, 152 millimeters. For load time is 7.5 seconds. Turn time of the guns are a bit slow. They're not terrible, but they're a bit slow. They are 16.8 seconds. And max dispersion is 110 meters with a maximum AP damage of 3,000 with a velocity of 936 meters per second. Now, they do have kind of a lobbying tendency, especially once you get out to longer ranges. So it becomes more difficult to actually hit your targets and penetrate them, especially when you're dealing with cruisers of the same tier or even battleships. It's terrible with battleships. So most of your guns are going to be either on your side or central line. I think there's only 2 instances of your guns being on the side, is these 2 right here. Most of them are going to be central lined. So yeah, not the greatest in the world. Now, you do have 3 secondaries. They're 102 millimeters. They're fairly weirdly placed. You have 1 in the back, 1 on port, and 1 on starboard, so kind of weirdly placed. Your main guns are what you're going to be primarily using. Now, range is 12.4, and like I said, it becomes extremely difficult when you're firing at your max range. You kind of have to be a little bit closer to be more effective. So your torpedoes are a little bit better. You have 4 torpedoes, 3 torpedoes each, 2 on each side. And they are definitely a little bit faster than the Danes. They're about 6 knots faster, and they have a range of 6 kilometers, exactly the same as the Dane. So you have a reload time of 71 seconds, max turn time is 6 seconds, and max damage is 11,967. Now, the most beneficial thing about the British cruiser line is they can fire torpedoes individually instead of sending them in salvos, which is extremely useful. It is so useful that you can actually use that almost as a main secondary guns, if that made any sense. So essentially, the British cruiser lines, they have guns, yes, but their torpedoes are almost just as good as their guns. Now, like I said, the torpedo speed is 59 knots. Not bad. A little slow, but not bad. AA guns is lousy. do not expect to be shooting down a lot of aircrafts. And these guns are interesting. Whoa, those are interesting guns. You have 6 quad 12.47 millimeters with a range of 1.2. You have 2 single 40 millimeters with a range of 22 kilometers. And you have 3 singles 102 millimeters, which are your secondaries, with a range of 3.5. So yes, the British cruiser line has horrible AA defense all the way up to the Neptune and the Minotaur. So do not expect to be shooting them down a lot of planes. That's really not your job. That's more, I hate to say it, more better suited for the American and the Russian cruisers. They have far superior AA guns than you do. Now, maneuverability is pretty good. 33 knots. She has quick acceleration. Quick turning circle is 670 meters. But when you turn, you do not lose speed, which is very beneficial. Allows you to get out of situations more easily. But there is a downside to her engines. It is slowing down. You will notice whenever you are slowing down, it does take you quite a little bit longer than you would expect. Now, rudder shift time is kind of lazy, around 10.9 seconds, so always be preemptive on your turning whenever you can. Concealment is 11.2 kilometers, which is terrible. You will almost always be spotted before you spot someone else. Almost always, especially when you're dealing with destroyers, you will be spotted quite easily. So as far as upgrades, if you get this, you get additional health and increased AA mounts. This increases the AA mounts quite significantly. You get 6 of the Orlikins. You get 6 more dual Orlikins and 2 quads of the Vickers. And I don't think I can actually show them off since I don't have it mounted. And the torpedoes change as well. You actually gain 1 additional torpedoes, but the reload time does increase to 95 seconds, so a 24-second increase. The rudder shift time goes down to 7.8 seconds. But other than that, let's go ahead and show you guys a replay with the Emerald, and it is a really good replay. So I will see you guys there. Hello, welcome back to a replay with the Emerald, and we are currently playing on Fault Line, and we have on our team a Colorado, Sean Horst, 2 New Mexico's, Koenig, ARP Ashigar, 2 Cleveland's, Emerald, Konigsberg, Farragut, and a Minikaze. On the enemy team, there is a Colorado, Sean Horst, 2 Fusos, Koenig, York, Alba, Omaha, 2 Emeralds, Ognavoy, and a Nicholas. And I have to say, the Emerald is such an improvement over the Dane, by far, because the Dane was just, I mean, it's a tier 4. I mean, kind of what you expect. Very, very weak armor. Range is very miserable, especially when you get tiered up with higher tiers and you are just downright sitting duck. Now, the most major benefit is the smoke. The smoke screen is what the British cruisers are very reliant on. Without that smoke screen, they'd be almost instantly killed every single time because their citadel is quite terrible. So it is very, very beneficial. Now, we did start on the far east-hand side, and we are currently moving over to sea to try to cap it. Now, we do have a friendly destroyer coming up behind us, a Minikaze. And I'm going to start slowing up here because I'd rather have the Minikaze out front. The Minikaze has a much lower detection than the Emerald. The Emerald has over 11 kilometers, 11.2 kilometer detection. It is quite terrible. And you really don't want to be detected first because everyone that has faced off against a British cruiser knows that their armor and their citadels are pretty thin. So I'm going to slow up just a little bit. Just allow the Minikaze to hopefully get around the corner, and it looks like that Minikaze is not even using a camo, which is kind of a bad thing, I guess, because the camo does help reduce your detection if you get the right one. So Minikaze made his way into sea. Unfortunately, he's still kind of behind the island, so I'm the one actually currently spotting, so I'm going to try to be a little bit careful. Hopefully we haven't seen any enemies, which is good. We do see there's a battleship iconic way northwest of us, so we're fine. No nasty surprises that are coming around the corner, hopefully. Kind of bring my guns to bear. Minikaze is just coming between the two alleyways of the island, and there is an Ognavoy. Now, the British cruiser lines are very unique because they have individual volleys of torpedoes you can fire individually. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my attention on this Ognavoy and use my guns to try to do a lot of damage. You do pretty good damage even though you're firing AP, and we do get the kill with a torpedo, which is fantastic. But at the same time I was dealing with the Ognavoy, two cruisers popped around the corner, a Emerald and a Omaha, and we get two Citadels already on the Emerald, and I'm going to start taking really big steps in the other direction. Now, my friendly Minikaze, I believe, did pop smoke, and he is currently hiding, and we get Citadeled by the enemy Emerald, even though we already have 5 on him. So, I'm going to take really big steps in the other direction as quickly as possible. Now, looks like our friendly Minikaze is very low on health. I don't think he's going to survive. And yes, the enemy Emerald does take out our friendly, but is now showing us a nice big broadside. And we should definitely punish him for this. Now, fortunately for us, we do have a friendly that did come around the corner who's going to try to help us, but no need. 2 more Citadel, and that means we have our second kill of the game, which is fantastic. Now, this is good, but our friendly Königsberg did take some torpedoes and is going to leave him very low on health. But this Omaha is just showing us a broadside. He does take out the enemy, or the friendly Königsberg, which is not good. Now, he has probably fired torpedoes. I'm still not exactly certain. And he does switch over to AP, but we are still hammering away. We do get a Citadel on him, and it's pretty much going to become a knife fight. We destroy one of his torpedoes. Good. Gonna try to keep myself bowing as much as possible. Do bring out my torpedoes, just waiting for the right opportunity to fire. And this is what really cool thing about the Emerald is the individual torpedoes. You can separate them. You don't always have to send them all in, and unfortunately for this Omaha, he turns in and takes a torpedo to his bow and instantly gets sunk. So that was a good 5 minutes into the game, and we already have 3 kills and are sitting about 58,000 points of damage. Not bad. Now, our team has kind of potatoed, I guess. It looks like we have 3 battleships making their way over to sea, I believe. If we take a quick look, it's the Konig, the Colorado, and the New Mexico. And guess what those 3 ships have in common? They're slow battleships. So they've wasted the entire time of the match just trying to get to C. While the enemy team has taken A, and we did take B at the beginning, but it looks like B is currently being contested. But fortunately, we will have C fairly soon. Now, I do point in chat, I'm like, okay, I think C is good, guys. Let's actually move somewhere and help out the rest of the team with the capturing of the bases, because the enemy team has pretty much essentially taken over the west side of the map. There's 2 cruisers and a destroyer currently competing against a couple battleships and a couple cruisers over there. So really, I don't think the battleships should have made their way over here. I guess they were hoping to get a cruiser kill on either the Omaha or the Emerald, but I don't know. Don't do this, especially low tier. Plan ahead of where you're going, because you're so slow, and you don't really need to send 3 battleships all the way over here. Don't Congo line. Do not Congo line. Only do it if you're facing off against the majority of the enemy team. That's the only time when you need to bring your force. But such as this instance, yeah, there was no need for this. Now, we do have a Colorado. Probably should have pointed out we are currently firing on a Colorado, and This is kind of the issue with the British cruisers, is that since they only fire AP and firing at a broadside battleship isn't the greatest, get a lot of bounces. Now, supposedly, they're supposed to have good penetration when the shells are dropping in. Every now and then I see maybe 1,000, like there's a 1,980, but not very often. Doesn't really happen this often. But we're gonna go ahead and use our heal, and possibly, if we can get in a good position, we can use our smoke for the first time. We haven't used our smoke at all during this match. And this match is pretty close. We are almost on the same footing of ships. We don't have any destroyers to our name, which can be bad, but can get worse than that, I guess. Now, just gonna continue firing on this Colorado, and this is why I don't like British cruisers, is the lack of HE. Now I understand why they went this route, because smoke screen and HE is very potent. And I popped my smoke screen, and we're just gonna try to hammer away, try to help out with this Colorado. He is showing a broadside to the Scharnhorst, which probably isn't the best idea in the world. And the enemy Scharnhorst does pop around the corner, and hopefully you can get some good damage in on him. Nope, it looks like he's starting to turn away, and we lose connection. Just lovely. Fortunately, I'm in a smoke screen, so it's not the worst thing in the world. So, fortunately, we were in a smoke screen the entire time, and I did not have to worry about taking any unneeded citadels. So, we're doing alright. It looks like most of their battleships have moved their way over to B, and all our battleships are Congo lining over to B as well. And I'm gonna bet majority, at least the Koenig and possibly even the Colorado, have done probably very little damage up to this point. Possibly they've done some long range fire, but that's about it. Now we do see a enemy Emerald hiding behind the island, and for some odd reason no one's firing at him. He's broadside. Shoot him. He's very easy to citadel, so I'm gonna start firing, and I think he's gonna get the hint that someone has actually seen him, and he's gonna try to get out of here as quick as he can. And unfortunately, 2 of our shells did hit, but did break, so we caused no damage. Oh, that's the issue with British cruisers once again, is their arcs, at least up to the Emerald. The arcs, whenever you're firing long range, they're coming more from the top than straight in. They're not like the Kirov. The Kirov has fantastic arcing of the shells, but these are a bit lazy, so they're going to be a little bit more difficult. Now, the Emerald does take out the friendly Cleveland, but watch this Nicholas. So we see a Nicholas, obviously, but he's firing AP. He's not really hitting me. And I'm expecting torpedoes. You would think he would have torpedoes. He probably hasn't fired torpedoes in a while. Okay, so I'm going to start turning in. If he did fire torpedoes, he probably would have fired torpedoes, and we should be able to dodge them if we have to. Now, he's still showing broadside. Just firing away. Firing AP. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he gets pretty good damage right there. But nothing particularly useful. Now, fortunately, the British cruisers, once again, are actually good at turning. Although you do have to really slow up when you're making these turns, because they don't lose speed when they're turning. Oh no, they do not. So I'm going to chase this Nicholas down. It looks like he's trying to go for C. But if I was this destroyer and I was trying to cap, I wouldn't be shooting my guns constantly all the way to cap when you do see a enemy cruiser chasing you. Like, what? Why? What are you doing? What benefit do you think you're gonna get? Now, he does pop smoke. We lose sight, and we are not detected any longer. Fortunately, we do have hydroacoustics up only for about 8 more seconds, so it's gonna be a little bit dangerous, especially if he decides to drop torpedoes. But you may have noticed he has yet to drop torpedoes. and it's a tier 5 destroyer, which has fast firing torpedoes. So you would think that you probably would have fire torpedoes, but we haven't seen them yet. So I went ahead and kind of pulled away, fired a spread of torpedoes just in case he might be sitting. But obviously he's not, because he is currently taking C. And so that means he's not going to be in the smoke screen, and I'm going to go ahead and use the smoke screen for my benefit to try to get as close as possible to this Nicholas as I can, because AP on the Emerald is pretty good. Pretty good. You won't get as many over penetration shots whenever you're currently facing destroyers. You'll do the full penetration damage, so that's why it's really nice. And gonna come around this corner. We don't see him yet because we're still in smoke screen, and I'm gonna try to get in as close as possible. I do want to stay narrow because I do not want to have to face against torpedoes. We are detected, and there he is, just sitting right there in the cap. He's still sitting there. Hasn't moved. Gonna fire my spread of torpedoes. Still sitting there. He should know that I'm right behind him. And it looks like he started his engine right at the last minute, but goes down to our torpedoes. So yeah, I don't know what that destroyer was doing. I honestly don't know. I really don't know. Fired his way all the way to sea for everyone to see. I rhymed. Anyways, and just sat there. Sat there and took my shots and my torpedoes. Good job. You're such a valuable player. Really wish I could see more of those players, just so I could get free experience and money from him. It'd be so nice. But essentially the game's gonna be over with. All that's left is the enemy Fuso, and he's currently facing off against a Colorado, New Mexico, and a Koenig. So, poor Fuso. Poor Fuso. So we earned a victory for our Emerald, and we got 406,234 silver, 14,610 XP, and 731 free XP with a first blood. Damage-wise, we did almost 85,000, did 91 hits, 3 torpedo hits, 1 plane shot down, 3 incapacitation, 4 kills, 2 flooding, 9 citadels, 7 defended base, 1 captured base, and 3 secondary hits, which is very crazy because normally you don't want to be that close if you can help it, but sometimes you have to. So as far as base XP, we earned 2,104. We caused a large amount of damage to the enemy Emerald and Omaha and the Nicholas. That's primarily where we got our XP and our money from. So how World of Warships works is the more damage percentage you cause to a ship, the more money. So destroyers causing a lot of damage to a destroyer, even taking a full health destroyer out, gives you a lot of experience and money for that. So always go for destroyers. They give you a lot of money. And so after everything is said and done, you get 369,078 silver, and our commander gets a new experience point. So this is going to be goodbye to the Leander. It has been actually a fun ship to play. Can be very tough because the large citadel and very easy to be killed, but still a fun ship all around. So thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Jen.